In Game 1, Anthony Edwards took over the game in the third quarter and showed the world that he is on a mission to prove he is one of the best players in the league by leading this team to a deep playoff run. However, as dominant as he was in the third quarter, it was quite the opposite early on in the game. He was up and down all throughout the first half, and he had to make some adjustments. So in this film study, we will look at exactly why he was struggling in the first half and what changes he made coming out of halftime. So let's look at some of the issues that he was facing at the start of this game. In this first play, he gets a screen from Mike Conley, and he moves the ball to McDaniels, and he quickly gets it right back, and McDaniels comes into a screen, really a ghost screen, and slips it and runs to the other side of the floor. So as the screen, almost before it even happens, we can see that Devin Booker is already coming up, getting ready for a double team. Grayson Allen is obviously on the ball. You've got Bradley Beal as another help defender. You've got Kevin Durant ready to help as soon as he drives, and you've also got Nurkic in the paint. So Anthony Edwards takes his ball to his left, attacks towards Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal helps. Here comes Kevin Durant. And you've pretty much almost got, at this point, you almost have 5 people in the paint. And it forces him, he jumps off of 1 foot, gets stuck in there, and it forces a turnover that Kevin Durant steals, and they go in transition. But just like Anthony Edwards does, in this next play, it was literally the trip down in transition. Anthony Edwards steals the ball, pushes the ball in transition by himself. They've got a 3-on-3 in transition, semi-transition. He gets to the mid-range, pulls up, and he's pretty much unstoppable because of his explosiveness and his athleticism. If he can hit that pull-up, then there's nothing you can do in transition with him. A few plays later, he gets another screen, this time from Rudy Gobert. And as the screen happens, you can see that Bradley Beal goes under the screen to catch him on the other side, and you can see that Nurkic is pretty far up in the pick and roll. So instead of just, simply just moving the ball or attacking Nurkic hard, he kind of hesitates and becomes indecisive, attacks it, and at this point, there's nothing there. He has 2 defenders on him, and the best decision would have been for him to back up and reset. But instead, he continues, tries the snake dribble. They get their hands on the ball, and he forces another turnover, and he actually picks up a foul, which will come back to haunt him later in the game. In this next play, we can clearly tell that at this point, Ant is frustrated and because of the turnovers and the lack of quality looks that has been able to get. So in this one, he comes down and comes off of a simple screen with Cat and shoots a deep pull-up 3 with a contest by Kevin Durant just because he is frustrated. And I call plays like these shot turnovers because he can get this shot anytime, and I know I sound like a high school coach saying that, and the playoffs are all about generating as many quality possessions as possible, and this is not one of them. And he almost makes it, but still it's not a good shot. Again, early on in this game, the only time really Ant was able to do anything was in transition. So right here we see, here come the Timberwolves in transition. They move it to him. He makes a quick decision, decisive decision, and gets to a pretty clean Euro layup for 2 points. Again, we have a semi-transition opportunity where most of the Suns are back on defense, and it's really not a good opportunity in transition for the Timberwolves. But instead of pulling the ball out and setting something up, he gets impatient again, tries to attack, gets stuck in the air. He jumps way too early than he needs to. The best option for him right here would have been to throw a lob to the rim right here to Rudy Gobert, but instead he tries to shoot a floater, or maybe it was a pass, but it's just another example of him getting stuck in the air that leads to a block shot in this particular play. A few plays later, we have another pick and roll with Rudy Gobert. Nurkic still comes up pretty far in this screen. This time, instead of going under the screen, Bill decides to chase him over the top, and like I said, Nurkic still comes up pretty far in the screen and provides some help for Bradley Beal. And instead of attacking Nurkic like I thought he should have right here, he picks up his dribble. And I think he had the opportunity to attack right here and cross over and get to the rim this way. But instead he picks up his dribble and tries to force the ball to Rudy Gobert that leads to another turnover. And it's just, you can tell he's clearly uncomfortable at this point in the game, and because of how the game is going up into this point, and he just makes a bad decision, because I can look at this and say, even if Gobert catches it, what is a player like him going to do with it in that situation? As the game went on, we could see that Ant started to figure out the Suns' defense and started to settle into the game and started to make the right reads. So again, we have another ghost screen with Kyle Anderson this time, and we're going to see that Booker is going to run to the double team, and you're going to have Bradley Beal and Booker sitting here waiting on him to trap him and try to get the ball out of his hands. So when that happens, here comes the double. Ant escapes to his left, drives to the left, and there's a situation where there's 3 defenders guarding him. Kevin Durant slides over into help at the elbow. He recognizes this, and I think he already had his mind made up that he sees Alexander Walker wide open in the corner over here for a wide open jump shot. And actually, he gets a little help right here from Rudy Gobert, who sets a screen and opens up the 3 even more. So he makes a quick decision, jumps in the air, but he knew what he was going to do with it when he jumped in the air, and it leads to a wide open 3. A few plays later, we can see from this freeze frame right here that this looks like rec ball, in my opinion. We have Eric Gordon all the way in the middle third of the floor playing help defense in the NBA, and Ant recognizes this like he should and realizes the gravity that he has this game, and he simply drives to his left, freezes him a little bit, and kicks to Naz Reid, and Gordon is too late on the contest. And you've got another assist and another wide open 3. As we move into the second quarter, Ant has still really not been able to get himself loose. So in this play, he takes another quick pull-up 3. As he's dribbling the ball up the floor, he takes a quick pull-up 3 in transition that I don't think is a good look in this game when he's been struggling the way he has. Later in the second quarter right here, he has a similar chance to pull up in transition early in the shot clock if he wants to, but instead he moves the ball to Karl-Anthony Towns on the delay action, and he chases over the top of that into looking like it's going to be a dribble handoff. Booker's going to decide to chase him behind that, and he's going to get a little bit of an advantage. As he comes off of this, he's going to get a good advantage, and he's going to get Booker on his hip, and he's going to get a wide open layup off of a great pass by Karl-Anthony Towns right here. So Booker chases over the top. He uses Towns as a screen, and he cuts and gets a layup, just being patient, moving without the ball, letting the game come to him. Unfortunately, off of that layup, he had to sprint back on defense, and he was already off balance. Kevin Durant attacks him, and he picks up his 3rd foul, and he has to sit the rest of the first half. So picking up that 3rd foul allowed him to sit for an extra few minutes and reflect on why he was struggling, why he was not able to get the looks that he wanted to get. So we clearly saw that in the first half, he kept getting himself too deep in the paint and was indecisive with his decision-making, which led to numerous turnovers, and he was also being impatient and taking bad shots. And in the third quarter, he came out and he fixed those issues and took over the game. So let's look at how he did it. In this first clip, we get another pick and roll, the same type of pick and roll, that high pick and roll that they had been running with Gobert the entire game, except this time, Nurkic is going to come all the way up into the point of attack, into the point of contact on the screen, and Ant is going to use this to an advantage and use his agility to split him and attack Booker and go lay it up. So as we see, as the screen comes, here comes Nurkic. He splits it, attacks Booker, hits him with the Euro, and there's nothing Booker can do about that, and he gets a good look to start off the third quarter. Later in the third quarter, Ant finally gets an opportunity to have a full side of the floor to himself and to be able to ISO on the person that's attempting to guard him. So you can see right here that Ant has this entire side of the floor to operate. And yes, there's a help defender right there in Nurkic, but Nurkic stays back and is protecting the rim. Ant knows this and learned his lesson from getting too deep in the first half. He tacks left and he pulls up a dribble early and hits the baby bank, which is a great shot for him. Finally getting loose, Ant has another opportunity to ISO on Devin Booker, and he attacks to his left. Bill is in a tough situation right here because he wants to come over and help, as he should, because this is Anthony Edwards. He wants to come over and help, but this is also a great shooter right here in the corner that's already made a couple threes. So he gets caught in between, is not able to fully commit, and gets to the elbow, not too deep, gets to the elbow, and uses his footwork to get around Booker to get a nice little floater. May have been a travel, but who cares? A few plays later, we got another pick and roll where O'Neal goes under the screen this time. The big is still up, and Ant is decisive, and he eats up the space with the big and forces the big to make a decision. So as he attacks, he forces that big to make a decision. The big sees that O'Neal is back and somewhat guarding him, even though he's on his hip, and he decides that he's going to back up into the roll and catch the roller so we don't put pressure on Devin Booker back here. So the big backs up. Anthony Edwards has him on his hip and just uses simple footwork, again from the elbow, not too deep in the paint, where he still has room to operate. This time, he gets another ISO on the left side of the floor, and he's going to attack to the strong side corner, and he's going to put Eric Gordon in a bind just like he did Bradley Beal a few plays later, where Eric Gordon has a decision to make. He either leaves this shooter or he comes over to help, and he doesn't really do either. And attacks that space. Gordon kind of fake helps and shows, but is not really committed. And Ant, again, doesn't get too deep, and he hits Kevin Durant with a step back that should have been an and one, and is getting the crowd into it, and he's starting to feel himself. So after getting what he wanted this entire quarter, he is finally fully feeling himself, and at this point, he gets another ISO on Kevin Durant and cooks him, and is giving Kevin Durant, his idol, everything that he could ask for. So after hitting that shot to end the quarter right here, there's no way the Suns were going to let him get an opportunity to have another ISO opportunity. So they send Royce O'Neal on a blitz on a double team near the logo, and Ant recognizes this and realizes that he's not going to be able to do anything from right there. So he moves the ball and quickly goes and gets it back. And again, they're not going to let Ant shoot this ball. So we see right here that Eric Gordon comes to have another double team with Bradley Beal and make Anthony Edwards get rid of the ball again, which he does, but because the defense has had to send two doubles and is in rotation, Ant attacks the space, kicks it, and they end the quarter strong with a three, and that was really the nail in the coffin that ended this game. So at this point, the game was over. Ant had settled into the game. He stopped getting so deep into the paint and allowing the defense to collapse on him. He started to make quick, decisive decisions, but he also slowed down and let the game come to him, which it did. I'm sure the Suns will make some more adjustments and try some different defensive strategies moving forward, but letting Anthony Edwards have this type of performance was a mistake, and the Suns could be in some serious trouble already in this series. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out some more of our content.